My name is Diane Miller. I'm 47 years old, a single mom living in a quiet suburb in Oregon. Life hasn't always been easy for me. In fact, for a long time, it felt like I was just moving through the motions, clocking in at work, making dinner, paying bills, and going to sleep with a heavy heart. But everything changed for me because of one person. My son, Brandon. Brandon just turned 22. He recently graduated college and moved back home while he searches for a job in his field, graphic design. When he came home, I was both excited and nervous. It had been 4 years since he lived under my roof, and I wasn't sure how much he had changed. He walked in the door with the same easy smile he had as a kid, but with broader shoulders, a deeper voice, and a new air of confidence that made my heart swell with pride. He wrapped me in a hug that lasted a few seconds longer than necessary and whispered, "I missed you, Mom." I hadn't realized how much I had missed being needed. My house had been too quiet for too long. With Brandon back, there was music again, his playlist humming through the kitchen while we cooked dinner together. There were spontaneous movie nights with popcorn and his sarcastic commentary that made me laugh like I hadn't in years. There were long conversations at the dining table about dreams, fears, and memories. I didn't realize how much I had built a cage around myself over the years. After his father and I divorced when Brandon was 12, I shut parts of myself down. I became the provider, the planner, the fixer, never allowing myself to feel too much, dream too big, or breathe too freely. But with Brandon home, it was like my heart started to come alive again. One afternoon, we went hiking, just the two of us. The trail wound through a wooded area near the coast, and we climbed up until we reached a cliffside that overlooked the ocean. We sat on a large rock, letting the breeze kiss our faces, listening to the rhythm of the waves below. "This is amazing," Brandon said, taking a deep breath. "It feels like the kind of freedom I used to feel when I was a kid." I smiled. I didn't realize how much I missed this, just being out in nature, away from everything. "Then why'd you stop?" he asked, looking over at me. I paused. "I don't know. Life got busy. And maybe I forgot what it was like to feel free." He looked at me, that thoughtful look he got from his dad. "Well, I think it's time to remember. Let's make this a thing. Every weekend, we go somewhere new. Just you and me." Tears stung my eyes, but I blinked them away. "I'd like that." And we did it. Every weekend, we picked a new place to explore. Lakes, mountains, parks, even downtown coffee shops we'd never tried. We talked about everything and nothing. And each time, I found myself shedding layers I hadn't even realized I was wearing. With him, I didn't have to be strong all the time. I didn't have to hide my disappointments or mask my joy. I was just Diane, his mom, his companion, his biggest fan. One weekend we took a trip to Crater Lake. It was Brandon's idea. The view took my breath away. We hiked around the rim and stopped to sketch the scenery. He drew while I painted, side by side in a quiet understanding that didn't need words. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was chasing time. I was living in it. Back at home, Brandon encouraged me to start painting again. He had seen my old work stacked in the garage and brought it out one day, laying it across the living room floor like some hidden treasure. "You're really talented, Mom," he said, picking up a canvas with a soft landscape I had painted years ago. "Why'd you stop?" I shrugged. "Life. I guess I told myself it wasn't practical anymore." "Yeah, but what if you started again, not for anyone else, but for yourself?" He helped me convert the spare bedroom into a studio. We painted the walls a light blue, set up a table by the window, and organized all my old supplies. He even bought me a brand new set of brushes and canvases. Some nights he'd sit on the floor while I painted, sketching ideas on his tablet. We talked about art, dreams, disappointments, and hopes for the future. We even joked about opening a little gallery together someday. Then one afternoon in early spring, something unexpected happened. I had gotten off work early and Brandon had the day free. We decided to drive up to the coast and have lunch at a small seafood shack he loved. On our way back, We got caught in a sudden rainstorm. We pulled over, laughing and soaked, and waited it out in the car. Brandon turned to me, serious for a moment. You know, Mom, I don't think I've ever told you how much I admire you. I blinked, surprised. Why's that? You've been through so much, raising me alone, sacrificing your dreams, holding everything together. But you never complained. You just gave. Even when it must have been really hard. I looked at him, overwhelmed. I didn't always get it right. No, but you were always there. That means more than anything. We hugged, the windows fogged up around us, the storm still raging outside. In that car with my son by my side, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, complete peace. The next few months were filled with growth. I began selling a few of my paintings online. Brandon got a few freelance gigs in design. We started talking about maybe traveling together before he settled into a full-time job, backpacking in Europe, maybe even a road trip across the US. But then came the moment that shook us. Brandon got a job offer in New York. He told me one morning over breakfast. It's everything I wanted, Mom. But I'm scared. I don't want to leave you alone again. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. You're not leaving me. You're living your life. And I'll be okay. We both cried. But they were tears of pride, of love, of understanding. The day he left, I stood on the porch, waving at the Uber as it pulled away. The house was quiet again. But this time, it wasn't empty. He had filled it with laughter, music, and love. He had reminded me that I wasn't just a mom. I was a woman who still had passion, freedom, and dreams. A week after he left, I got a package in the mail. Inside was a framed photo of us on the hiking trail with the ocean behind us. On the back, he'd written, "Only with you, Mom, have I ever felt truly free. Thank you for being my anchor and my wings." I hung it in the studio, right above my easel. I started teaching a weekly art class at the local community center. I met other women who, like me, were rediscovering themselves. Some of them had similar stories, widowed, divorced, or just lost. We bonded over our shared experiences and supported one another. One evening, after class, I went home and called Brandon. He picked up right away. "Hey, Mom. How was class?" "Wonderful," I said, smiling. "I think I'm finally doing what I love." "Told you," he said. "You've got more fire in you than you know." He was right. I had forgotten how strong, creative, and alive I could feel. And it took my son's return to help me see that again. Today I paint. I hike. I explore new places. I read more, laugh harder, and sleep easier. I've even taken up journaling, capturing the stories I never gave myself the time to write before. And when I feel a little lost, I look at the photo on the wall, the one from our hike, and I remember that part of me was born again through the bond one share with my son.